Invisible ghost-type viruses begin to steal data from secure places all across the network, as Scilab brings in the dimensional converter Raika disabled intact. One wonders what happened to all the other converters Nebula and the Dark Lords have put out there to make this the first one they've recovered intact. What, do they have a recall function? Do they self-destruct or burn out after the field's disabled? There kinda needs to be an answer to that, as there's no reason any of the others couldn't service this. But yeah, with regards to the ghost case, well, we are once more reminded that Rockman, despite being a ghost in a machine, is himself scared of ghosts in this incarnation. But yeah, this two-parter continues to enforce the Raika's a dick interpretation that's being pushed here, as he refuses to work with Neto on this. This is, incidentally, another Kenichi Yamada episode. So of course, as a member of the Neto is an idiot camp of writers, he's gotta use Raika as an author proxy to spout all of that, after Masaharu Amiya gave him the opening to do so last week. Again, it can never be a both sides are right, both sides are wrong kind of deal with these kinds of things. Now can it? That would require nuance and respecting character portrayal instead of flanderization until the point their criticisms are addressed by throwing them to the side instead of proving them fundamentally wrong. And I do think the Neto is a dumbass interpretation thing is part of the problem. As I said about last time, nothing Raika himself did is anything Neto himself has not done. All he used that Neto couldn't are abilities programmed into exclusively Searchman, and did nothing to resolve the longer-term problems. But the series does not recognize that because half the staff are trying to make Neto fit the idiot hero stereotype where hearts and guts are all one needs, and that brains and instinct only get one so far without faith in others. Thus, the brainy ones always cause an argument until they get their asses handed to them, because stupid people are suddenly superior. Or at least that's how it keeps getting written in so fucking many of these series that it's just fucking irritating. It actually makes me value all the more series that don't dignify that shit, like King of Braves Gao Gaigar, where the heroes of the series only superficially resemble meatheads, but when you look again at it all, most of their plans are ridiculously thought out and smart, and it's the courageous resolve of the main cast to take things that extra inch which secures them the key to victory. I get that Axess is trying to perform its plot by contrasting different people to all get them on the same page of becoming a united front against a force of evil that threatens them all, but the consistent problem I've had throughout going through this series again is the same one I had when I first was watching. The main protagonist isn't that stupid to deserve the condemnation he gets, and those doing so look like the even bigger assholes by comparison, even when they might have a point worth listening to, as their personal conduct ruins any argument they could make. And the refusal for the bystanders to intervene on Raika's conduct actually makes this worse, as it's proving his point for him that they don't trust that Neto's in the right on this. Anyways, the Dark Lord's benefactor was the one after the data their minions stole, offloading a large number of dark chips into their hands in gratitude, which in and of itself is telling. Anyways, the Saber Navis investigate the scene of the crime, Searchman's more advanced scouting tools managing to pick up traces of something having physically been there. But again, Raika's made to be a jerk and refuses to say what did it just to make Neto look bad, Neto asking Rush to help track the perpetrators in a different way. Why does a digital puppy love Italian food anyways? That's Garfield's thing. The ones actually responsible are Metors installed with invisible chips that are grabbing the data for the Dark Lords, which again, Searchman is uniquely programmed to fight against, unlike most other Navis. It once more shows the problem of this plot, that it's only because of Raika and Searchman's extreme hyper-specialization being useful in just these circumstances that makes them arrogantly believe they can deal with everything with no others being legitimate, and showing the possibility of maybe, hey, if you think there's a problem with Neto, maybe get him to learn something from observing you in turn. He was brought here not only to learn, but to share his own skills with others after all. And he's been failing that assignment since he got here, and only ostracized himself from the entire command framework. Still, Rush finally pulls through and succeeds in bringing Neto and Rockman to an abandoned factory the Mentors are actually all being instructed to bring the stolen data to, allowing them to get there before Searchman can, since Raika's refused to provide the information himself for a proper assault on their hideout. Online, they find Desert Man and his use, and subsequent overuse of dark chips, is actually responsible for the cloaking effect the Metroids are being affected by. Which, good luck explaining that to me, because you really can't. Unfortunately, Desert Man can also apply this invisibility effect to himself, which is a bit more of an issue. But fortunately, Neto and Rockman already know their weakness. Still, Desert Man chaining his specials eventually lets him get a hand on Rockman, threatening to throw him into a vat of what I presume to be magma data, when Searchman is revealed to be on the premises. Raika doesn't care. He thinks Rockman's useless and deleting his Navi would get Neto thrown out of the Savers. But Searchman is surprisingly the one that hesitates to follow that order. And it's not made clear as to why. Yeah, the Navis had one more encounter than their operators do, and Rockman has been more cordial a co-worker, but for a Navi designed to be emotionless like this does not connect on why he would suddenly choose to change from that. Better question, why is Neto not slotting an area steal chip to get Rockman out of Desert Man's grasp? We've seen area steals used in just these circumstances before. There's no reason not to use one now. Hell, they're not the only ones. Anti-damage, aka Kawarimi, which we know they have, as well, would permit the same. And it's not like I'm trashing Neto for not doing that, it's clearly the writer doing forced drama. But it would directly dispute Raika's claims to Neto being incompetent for him to get his own Navi out of a situation like this, when Raika would just write him off as a lost cause. Hell, it would invalidate Raika's entire argument, because Raika himself would not be using all the resources available to him. Hell, to make this worse, we've already seen Searchman be capable of shooting through targets to hit their actual enemy already. So this is not but forced drama to shove on Raika the belligerent Aesop that he can't do this on his own and his way won't work every time! One that if the character was not being written like a jackass, he wouldn't need. Or better yet, if he wasn't being a jackass and actually using his head as he claims is his specialty, he wouldn't realize that he could do both as Searchman does on his own, using a special freezing bullet he apparently has, to remove the threat of the death trap that allows Rockman the freedom to assist in counterattacking. For as I've been saying, this makes everything Raika said since he got here to be all around the issue of his own ego instead of the two disparate sides and skill sets coming together. But because Raika didn't use his head, Searchman doing this solo puts them at a disadvantage, which is only reversed by Rockman unlocking his next soul form.
Rockman. サーチマン、一緒に戦おう。
And with Rockman's scanning and targeting systems being improved, combined with the Navi's raw power, he succeeds in sniping the stratosphere. Raika, though, is not happy, leaving in a huff.
Raika-kun, 今日で研修は終わりだ。
But he didn't learn anything. Like, at all. The wrap-up. We once again have no moral theater, for Raika being written as a jackass for all the reasons I keep saying, hold even this entry back. Conversely, we have idiot plot, for Raika screwing over himself because he doesn't use his head to resolve a crisis, which is an attempt to discredit his argument over land being awful, but fails. We've got I've Got Soul, for Search Soul, bringing up the soul form total to 4 Red-Sun souls unlocked, while Blue Moon souls are still at 2. And we have Treasure Sniper, for this plot having guns being the solution to a bunch of valuable data being stolen. Like I said last time, while Raika started this arc having a legitimate point and potential arc in encouraging Neto to learn and focus on more of his skills than he actively relies on, or have his initial view changed by his entire argument being discredited after seeing more of Neto in action, the character is made to double down on his viewpoint to the point of incredulity at the height of stupidity he descends to with his stubbornness, reflecting the staff discourse on how to portray Neto himself. As this is what always happens with characters that are trying to be made as idiot protagonists. They're proven right and succeed, not because of the merits of their own abilities, but because the plot said so. I absolutely loathe it when writers do that. Only made worse when, again, it's done because the writers are being so contrary to characterization to begin with. As I've said time and again, there's a difference between writing a character as a child and writing them as an idiot. Too many people, both in works of fiction and real life, think the two are synonymous. And relatedly, the only way to make some adult protagonists relatable to kids is to make those characters imbecilic man-children themselves. And it doesn't work. It has never worked. Lowering characters to that doesn't work. And neither does warping reality to accommodate actual true incompetence. Because I have seen how low this can go, that enforcing this to keep the two at odds is not in any way successful. Now, as I have said, Raika does get better. The next time he appears, he's in the hands of another writer that does handle the shift away from this jackassery better. And while I still say the pair are better here than in the games, because at least here they started out having a point before they became an authorial mouthpiece, the fact this wasn't being addressed still acts as a sore point for me.